Hello and welcome to Talk Truth. My name is Corey Huntsberger. I've got my father, Alan Huntsberger, in the studio, and we're going to do our foundational verse. The earth and everything in it, the world and its inhabitants belong to the Lord. For he laid its foundation on the seas and established it on the rivers. Psalm 24, 1 and 2. We say it every program. For the newbies, welcome. Thank you for tuning us in. But that verse, you will hear it every single episode of this show. Because why, Dad?
Well, I continue to say because it's true.
Because it's true.
The earth and everything in it belongs to the Lord. And if you want success in life, learn how to draw near to the Lord. Learn how to develop a relationship with Jesus Christ. Learn from the scriptures, the Bible. Get a Bible and start reading it. And you can start in the New Testament and then read through the Old Testament. And pray that Holy Spirit will be your teacher as you're reading. And when you start to draw near to the Lord, God promises to draw near to you. So you might be listening right now to us and saying, I don't even sense God. He's a million miles away. Well, you start drawing near to God. And how do you do that? Through prayer and through reading the Word. And when you start doing that, and it might be a hard exercise at first, but then when you start getting close to the Lord and you start drawing to the Lord and he starts drawing to you, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to experience the experience of your lifetime.
Yeah, and I would also add to that, invite the Lord to make himself real to you. If you don't believe in God, you don't think he exists, say, hey, Heavenly Father, God, whoever you are, guy in heaven, the one who created the earth, make yourself known, make yourself real to me. Leave it at that, and he will. That's a dangerous prayer. It's one of my favorites. We've got a special guest. You guys know him. He's been on quite a bit. And by the way, I just have to tell you, Mr. Shawn Buckley, everyone loves the Dell Bigtree testimony that you did at the NCI. Incredible. We're probably going to rerun it because it just was so good.
It's interesting because I believe that God brought him to Edmonton for those hearings. Like, when you think about it, I mean, here he was the campaign director or like communications director for Mr. Kennedy's presidential bid. He runs a show called The High Wire that, like, I think a poorly watched show was 4 to 5 million people that he puts on in Austin, Texas. So he's at Senate confirmation hearings in Washington. I mean, he's head of the corporation MAHA, which has tremendous influence in the Kennedy circle. So he's at hearings in Washington, confirmation hearings. He flies to Austin to do a show on Thursday, and then he flies the next day to Edmonton to testify at the National Citizens Inquiry. And then he has to leave right away. Like, as soon as he's done, we're driving him to the airport because he has to fly out again for another commitment. And we couldn't believe he agreed to testify at all. But he could have testified virtually, but he felt the need to come. He also felt the need to pray before he got on the stand. It's the only time I've seen him include God in his presentation. And I've seen him present live. I've seen him present online. I've seen him on his show. I've seen him present at conferences. I've never seen God speak so powerfully through him as at the NCI. So it doesn't surprise me that it's having an impact because I believe God was using him to speak truth.
Agreed. We want to get Dell here on the show as well and ask him questions face to face because he is a journalist. I love that he says he's not a doctor, he's not a scientist, but what he is, he's got all the info and he knows how to put the information together as a journalist so it's digestible for people watching. And that's what I think people really loved. It's one of my favorites, and I'm so grateful you had him on. It was an unbelievable show. Shawn, we have other things that we want to talk to you about. You brought it up. It has to do with I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about it. Censorship. I don't know. What would you call
censorship of truthful health information, and most of your audience won't understand this. And to the best of my knowledge, Canada is the most censored country in the world for truthful health information. And it's important for you to understand how it works and then ask your question, who does this serve? Because everything government does is done for a reason, right? And your conclusion isn't going to be that it serves you. And how this works is Health Canada basically, in our drug laws, we've made it that anything that we use for health purpose, whether it's a chemical drug or whether it's a natural substance like ginger tea, if you're using it for a therapeutic purpose, we've classified it as a drug. And Health Canada takes the position, and then I'll just back up, all drugs are illegal. So the starting point is no one can sell a drug in Canada unless Health Canada's approved it, which means all drugs are illegal, but Health Canada, our big brother, grants us the permission to use drugs by issuing temporary licenses. Now, when Health Canada grants a temporary license to give us the privilege to access a drug, a label claim is approved. So let's say in the chemical drug world, you get an antidepressant approved. Well, Health Canada will approve it to treat depression. So all the company is allowed to say is this treats depression. That's it. So the company can't share the good data. The company can't share the bad data. The company cannot share truthful health information. And understand the company is going to be the only one in possession of a lot of this information, and it's illegal to share it. And I'll explain the law should be the opposite, where you're obligated. The law should be you have to share all information. So, and let's put that now in, for the natural health companies. So I like to use True Hope as an example because they have a product that actually, treats depression, but they can't say that. Under our natural health product regulations, Health Canada won't approve for specific conditions like bipolar or depression. They limit us, and this is just a policy decision, they limit us to claims like supports the central nervous system, which is, I think, the claim that True Hope's approved for. Well, that's all they can say. They can't share any other information. And why I use True Hope as an example is there are over 30 published peer-reviewed journal publications on that product, all funded by governments around the world. The Alberta government ran a double-blind clinical trial run by the Behavioral Research Unit in the Faculty of Medicine. It was run out of Children's Hospital in Calgary. Like, we're talking governments around the world using taxpayer funds to fund research that's then peer-reviewed and published in journals like the Journal of Psychiatry, the Journal of Child and Adolescent Psychopharmacology. But it's illegal for True Hope to share that truthful, government-funded information about their product. And you kind of ask the question, well, what's the reason for this, right? Because nothing happens by accident. I hope you would think that in the area of health, the more information, truthful information we have, the better health decisions we can make. And the reason we do this is so that we can support the chemical drug industry and the government-funded, medicine that they give us. And the reason is because the reality is the truth on the chemical drug end would shock people. And an example I really like to use, a few years back, I'm cross-examining under oath a Health Canada expert. This was a private individual, a psychiatrist, that ran a company that all they did was get psychiatric drugs approved of by Health Canada. And so this person is under oath when I'm questioning. And the person basically starts to complain to me at how hard it is to get new antidepressant drugs approved of by Health Canada. And as he went on to explain, the problem is he has to give Health Canada 2 double-blind clinical trials showing that the chemical works better than the sugar pill. Like there has to be this statistical separation. And if there is, we pretend that means the drug works. Well, as he went on to say, he's learned that to get those two, he has to run on average 8. So right out of the gate, he'll run 8 all at the same time. So he'll run 8 double-blind clinical trials so that at the end of those 8, 2 will show the statistical separation with the sugar pill. And he'll give those 2 positive studies to Health Canada. He doesn't have to share with Health Canada the 6 studies that failed. And when I say failed, I mean some of them may have shown that the drug worked better than the sugar pill, but the safety data could be extremely scary, for example. Some could show the sugar pill worked better than the drug, in which case, why would you approve it? It doesn't work. Now, would you take that antidepressant drug if the law was that they had to share all truthful information with you, and you came to understand, well, it was approved based on 2 studies, but 8 were run, and only 2 of them showed that the drug worked and should be approved?
Right.
Do you see how we'd lose confidence in that system? And I mean, and this is normal.
Well, let me just ask this. So technically, when you go and get a drug and someone says, "Oh no, there's been studies. It's been totally safe and approved and all this, it's been beneficial and great." Technically, what they're saying is true, but the real truth behind it is that's 2 studies out of 8 and 6 of them failed and only 2 of them passed. And so you're clinging to the information on the 2 that passed and ignoring the 6. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like you're kind of tuning in on the public perception that if Health Canada has approved a drug, it means it's safe and effective. Well, I hope your audience understands that nowhere in the law, nowhere in the Food and Drug Act, does Health Canada have to act in the public interest. Nowhere in the Food and Drug Act does Health Canada have to act to get good health outcomes. And when a chemical drug company submits an application, there's certain criteria that have to be met. They're found in the Food and Drug Regulations at C.08.001 and then following. If those criteria are met, the Minister of Health, Health Canada, has to grant a license application. So it's kind of preloaded where you have to grant an application if certain criteria are met. And you do have to show that the drug is relatively safe. And safety is a sliding scale because, if a drug has a certain risk profile, then we limit it to prescription, for example, and add certain safeguards, right? So, but it's possible for a drug to still it's dangerous enough that it needs to be managed by prescription, but still effective enough that there's a benefit to having it on the market. So generally speaking, you have to show safety and you have to show efficacy, and then a risk-benefit analysis is done. It's not in the law, so when you go and read those regulations, there's no requirement for risk-benefit, but our criminal law requires it. You can't allow a drug onto the market that's going to cause more harm than good. You'd be committing criminal negligence.
Shawn, can I ask a question? One of the scenarios is I always thought that everything to do with health is under the provinces, not under the federal government, but under the provincial government. Is that true?
Well, good question. And so, yes. So under the main part of our Constitution that sets out what powers the provinces have and what powers the federal government has, it's a British statute called the British North America Act 1867. And Section 92 of that act gives provinces the power over hospitals and property and civil rights. And those 2 things have been interpreted historically to mean that provinces govern healthcare generally, which is why provinces, they regulate doctors and they run the hospitals and the like. But the federal government in Section 91 has the criminal law power, and the Food and Drug Act is actually an exercise of the criminal law power. So protecting us against fraud, protecting us against adulteration, and also protecting us against things that are truly dangerous. So like, the chemical drugs, in my mind, it makes sense that you can't just invent a chemical that we've never ingested and market it without some type of oversight to, ensure that you're not being completely reckless. But the problem with having Health Canada approve drugs as safe and effective, it tends to shield them from both criminal and civil liability. Like, there's just a presumption that the drugs are safe and effective and that nobody's doing anything nefarious if you've been granted a license and you're marketing this product, and even governments provincially are paying for it and providing it to people free in hospitals and the like. There's just this presumption that you're not doing anything wrong. But the reality is 3 of our leading 5 leading causes of death in Canada and every first world country are linked to chemical pharmaceutical drugs. And in my mind, and I've been in the drug approval world now for 31 years, I think it's one of the biggest frauds perpetrated on a population ever. And I use that example of the antidepressants. It would shock people. Even the clinical trials themselves are designed to get, a positive result and really are unfair. How many drugs would be approved, chemical drugs, if the companies couldn't run the trials themselves, but had to give, a whack of cash to the government that then would publish the study designs so that there could be, full transparency and comment, and we could all see these studies aren't designed to get a positive result, but are actually to get a fair result. Does this drug work versus the sugar pill? And then unknown third parties were then contracted by the government to run the trials. They're not run by companies that the pharmaceutical companies basically keep in business by running trial after trial after trial. How many drugs would be approved? And, and the law was there had to be full transparency.
Yeah.
There's an assumption that we all make when we go to the pharmacy and you get a prescribed drug. They always give you a paper that has all the information about the drug, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so to speak. That's what you think. You assume that all of the information about this drug is right here in front of you. And now if you want to continue to take it, you've been warned ahead of time of the good, bad, and ugly about the drug. But what you're saying is, no, that's not true. A drug that you've been given, you're going to get a report of 2 out of 8 tests proved good and 6 tests proved bad, but you're not going to get that information of those 6 tests in that information that's supposed to tell you that this drug is safe and effective for you. Have I got that right?
Absolutely. If the law was, what I'm talking about is censorship. If the law should be that for any drug that the manufacturer has to make public all known information, whether that shows danger, whether it shows safety, whether it's inconclusive. Because how can we make proper health decisions if we can't be told truthful health information? Like the law in Canada now is Health Canada will attack companies and charge them and take them down if they share truthful health information with us. And where that enforcement action is in the area of natural health products. The chemical drug companies do not want to share their clinical research. They don't want to share their failed studies. They don't want to share with you the adverse reaction reports that they receive privately. They don't want to share with you their internal information. But natural health companies want to share with you because they don't have the danger signals, but they have success stories. And so, and I use True Hope as an example. True Hope would love to share with you all of the government-funded peer review research And isn't it shocking that it's illegal to share that? So
is it illegal for them to share it? Like, could we
Yes.
get it and we share it to the people?
Well, sure. But, the difficulty is in a lot of cases, it's the companies that have the information. I mean, TrueHope's an unusual example in that there's all this government-funded research. But they're also the people with the interest in sharing the information, because it's going to be at the doctor level and the store staff level where these questions are going to come. And wouldn't it be nice to educate them, the people that are going to be interfacing with the public? So if you're going to get truthful health information out there, and again, we're not talking about fraud. There's protections against fraud. We're talking about sharing truthful information. And do you see how this serves the chemical drug companies and the government medical model? Like under the Canada Health Act, I mean, the federal government takes all this money from the provinces and then says, well, I'll give it back to you if you promise to spend it for health according to the Canada Health Act. And every province feels completely obligated to do this. But that obligates the province to basically have a medical system that's based on these chemical drugs. The citizens have to pay for the natural health community. And if we can't get the information, truthful health information to access natural remedies, and we can't get truthful health information to tell us that maybe we shouldn't have the confidence that we do have in the government-funded medical system, how do we protect ourselves and make good health decisions?
I'm confused a little bit because fraud to me is exactly what you've been saying. Fraud to me is that 6 out of the 8 tests are not true, are dangerous for you. But they don't tell you that. They only tell you the 2 that are good. So by not telling me about the 6 that are bad, that to me is fraud. No?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the worst part is in 2014, we had a law passed called Vanessa's Law, which, gave Health Canada the power to require the disclosure of the bad information. And there's no regulations made requiring it. So, it's just interesting that literally 11 years ago, a legal framework was put in place to require that, where you could require the disclosure of negative health information. But the real problem is without specific regulations saying you have to disclose something, it's illegal to disclose it. Like that's what I can't get my head around, is understand Health Canada takes the position it's illegal to share truthful health information with you, whether it shows a drug doesn't work and is dangerous, or whether it shows, it's going to save your life. It is illegal to share with you, the citizen, truthful health information. And how can we live in a country where basically it's illegal to share the truth on what's more important than either staying healthy or recovering, regaining health? Like, what's more important to us other than, following God, protecting our health and the health of our family? And how do we do that when the truth, it's illegal for us to be told the truth?
Yeah, well, kind of makes sense though. I mean, like that is the culture of death that Canada has, and it seems it's being continued. I follow the Certified Health Net on social. He posted this picture and this quote. I thought it was really good. It said, "If medicine worked, you wouldn't need to refill your prescription." So
that's good.
It is good. Lots more to talk about, because you really didn't get to touch the health side. I mean, you did a little bit. It's amazing, because I think you said, did you not say that ginger is considered a chemical?
Oh, absolutely. If I was to say to Alan, you look dehydrated, can you drink some water? I've just made water a drug. Anything used for a therapeutic purpose. And I use ginger tea as an example, because as long as we have recorded history, like thousands of years, we've used ginger tea to alleviate nausea. And our worst case of a drug is, thalidomide, where we gave it to treat nausea during pregnancy and we had children born without limbs, when we could have given them ginger tea, but we can't tell them ginger tea works.
Let me ask you, can you produce a book, like a handbook of remedies, home remedies, that for all these different symptoms and whatever, and publish that and give it to people? Can you do that? Is that illegal?
Absolutely. If you're not selling any of the products. So if you're not, just a researcher or whatever, yes.
Honey, lemon, ginger. We could talk about all the health
absolutely.
benefits.
And that information is out there. And I think everyone should be getting those types of books of home remedies because you'd just be shocked at how effective most of them are.
Yeah. Shawn, we're out of time. We really appreciate your knowledge and all this. 30 some years, man. You've seen it all. I really appreciate you sharing it with us, and we're definitely going to have you back. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, there you go, Dad. It's illegal to share the truth. How's that? It's funny. It's really kind of funny because it's like, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Like, who's the guy that like sat in a corner office and like, let's make it illegal to tell the truth and wrote it up. And then all the people that voted on that, and passed it. And now it's law. It's illegal to share the truth. That really needs to be on a t-shirt or something like that. I mean,
I don't think it's a surprise to anybody to know that good is evil and evil is good.
We're giving away a free booklet while supplies last called The Living Stone, A Journey of Transformation. It's yours absolutely free. It's time for you to build that relationship you have with Christ into a strong foundation. Become like him, the living stone. You can go to our website, gotalktruth.com, click on resources, fill out the form. We'll send one to you in the mail for free. You got to get it now because it's going away. Alan's got a brand new book. Dad, you got a brand new book, Bacon in the Oven. And when that one comes out, this one's going to go away. So yeah, if you haven't gotten a copy yet, or if you do have one, tell your friends about to get their copy because it's going to go away. If you want to help support our mission, keep this kind of conversation on the air, this truth that our government finds illegal, fascinating. We need your support. We don't take government funds. We don't take lobbyist money. We don't take special interest groups. We are only funded by generous people like yourselves. You can go to our website, gotalktruth.com, click on donate. That way you can give digitally. If you'd like to do it through the mail, you can. You can make your check payable to Heritage Christian Ministries Association and send it to 246 Stewart Green Southwest, Suite 3260, Calgary, Alberta, T3H 3C8. And if you need prayer, you can call our toll-free line. One of our prayer warriors would love to pray with you. 1-800-915-0056 in Canada, 1-800-445-3450 if you're in the U.S. All right, Dad, we're out of time. We'll see you guys later.
Love you.